Okay, minasan, konnichiwa, Zamurai Engineer desu. In this video, we will introduce the National Building Code of the Philippines, PD 1096, and its IRR of 2005. So this is a IRR, the latest one, that is what we are implementing right now, or the DPWH is the implementing agency, so they are the one who is implementing this or enforcing this law. Okay. So let's take a look. So table of contents, we start with general provisions. Okay, let's take a look at very important components. So Rule 12, general design and construction requirements. So we have that. Even Rule 11, protection of pedestrians. So those are included. Rule 13, electrical and mechanical regulations. Okay. And Rule 14, photographic and X-ray films. Rule 15, prefabricated construction. Rule 16, plastic. Rule 17, sheet metal, paint, spray booth. Rule 18, glass and glazing. Rule 19, use of computers. Rule 20, signs. Rule 21, that is the last, for transitory and penal provision. What do you mean by transitory? So transition period. So you are being allowed by the rule to transition from the old code to the new code. Okay, the updated one. And what do you mean by penal provision? This is where the punishment is written. How much is the punishment? How much in terms of pesos or in terms of what? Number of years of imprisonment. So it is written here. So let us move on forward by, of course, forward is for what? DPWH, that is the leading agency that enforces, given by the law to enforce the National Building Code of the Philippines. They are the one. So they have the National Building Code Review Committee, which is being reviewed, supposed to be regularly, but in our country that is not being done religiously. From time to time, they are being reviewed. So the composition, there are so many names, no? So, composition of National Building Code Development Office. So they have an office for that purpose. So they have important person, experts that are assigned to those tasks and bureaus. Okay, so these are from DPWH. So DPWH circular here means the imposition of the implementing rules and regulation of the National Building Code of the Philippines, otherwise known as PD 1096. Okay, so this is the order. This piece of paper is the order. So meaning, what is the date of the order? Let's take a look at the date. So this is supposed to be 2005. 2005. The first memorandum circular 01, no, of 2005. Okay, so that is the order of the okay. So general provision, this is the first chapter or rule 1. Okay, general provision. Okay. So what provision of the law gives DPWH the right to publish or propose or implement these rules and regulations? So pursuant to the authority written under Chapter 2 of the National Building Code of the Philippines. Okay, Chapter 2. Okay, the following rules and regulations are hereby promulgated and issued by the DPW. So that is the law that gives them the authority. Okay. The general provision, number 1, title, the implementing rules or the revised implementing rules and regulation of National Building of the Philippines, or IRR 2005. So declaration of policy. Okay. So for what? Okay. To safeguard life, health, property, and public welfare. So what did I told you? That is the purpose of National Building Code. Safeguard life and property, public health, and public welfare. Okay. So 4, there are 4. 4. That is only 4. Safeguard life. So in safeguarding life or protection of life, it doesn't mean 100%. No. Okay. Safeguard life. Okay. So take note of this. That is the purpose of the code. Scope and application. Where and when it could be applied. Shall cover the following disciplines. Okay, so what disciplines are covered in the application of this? Architectural, civil, structural, electrical, mechanical. Okay. Okay, mechanical. Then number 5, sanitary. Number 6, plumbing. Number 1, 2, 3, number 7, electronics. Okay. I always say 8 professional because we have geodetic engineer, which is not included here, but geodetic engineers are under a different department, not DPWs, but they are really also have a box, have an area on the engineering plan, geodetic. So that is what line and grades. Okay, line and grades are for geodetic engineer, but they are under a different department, not DPWs. Okay. So what are the type of structure that this code must be applied? Design, location, setting, construction, alteration, repair, conversion, use, occupancy, maintenance, moving, demolition, even demolition. They must have an engineering plan or the demolition, and addition to public addition, meaning extension. If you are going to do an extension of your structure, public and private buildings, both public and private. So it is not only building but also structure, buildings and structure, except traditional indigenous family dwellings and those covered by Batas Pambansa bilang 220, otherwise known as the Economic and Socialized Housing Project. Okay, so row houses is not covered. Okay, says not covered. So very small economic and socialized housing is not covered by National Building Code of the Philippines. But other than that, everything is covered, including your residence. Okay, so residential is covered because it is what? What? Occupancy. Residential and occupancy. Okay, and the residence is private. So not only private but also public. Public meaning owned by the government, national or local government. Okay, private meaning private individuals, corporation, individual person. Okay, existing buildings is covered, meaning old buildings is covered. Okay, structure without appropriate building permits, certificates of occupancy may be legalized and issued necessary permits and certificates provided they are made to conform to these rules and regulations. Okay, so all buildings must be subjected to the imposition of penalties. So if you do not follow National Building Code, you are subjected to penalties, surcharges, and fines, and other appropriate measures. Number 3, applicable consistent provision of the allied professional codes and other government agency codes as approved by DPW Secretary shall serve as referral codes of PD 1096 and this IRR. Right? Okay. allied professional codes and other government agency codes could be used as referral codes of PD 1096. What are those? For example, Philippine Electrical Code, Philippine Mechanical Code. Those are referral code. Okay. Sanitary Code of the Philippines. Okay. Those are referral code. Okay. So Plumbing Code of the Philippines. Referral code. So meaning they are not written here but written on Philippine Electrical Code, but still it is under National Building Code. Okay. So general building requirements, all buildings or structure as well as accessory facilities. So meaning including residential, but we are not doing it right now in our country. Okay. Okay, we are not doing it, but they are included, no? So buildings or structure intended to be used for manufacturing, okay, production, okay. So any kind of articles or products, so, buildings or structures and all parts thereof, as well as all facilities found therein, shall be maintained in safe, sanitary, and good working conditions. So those are requirements of the National Building Code. Site requirement. How about the selection of site? Okay, land or site upon which will be constructed any building or structure or any ancillary or auxiliary facilities thereto shall be sanitary, hygienic, or safe. In case of site or buildings intended for use as human habitation, the same shall have be safe and safe distance as determined by competent authorities from stream or bodies of water and or sources of air considered to be polluted from a volcano or volcanic site. So it is specifically said in the National Building Code that it is illegal to put up a building or residential, otherwise business or anything near volcano, okay, or volcanic site. Okay, so that is what we require on site requirement. Okay, with safe distance from bodies of water. Okay, okay, streams. Okay, definitions. So anyway, we will keep any definition later on. We will pick some example like addition. Any construction which increases the height or floor area. Okay, that is what we mean by addition. If we increase the floor area, that is addition. If we increase the height, that is addition. Okay. What about building official? What do you mean by building official? That is an executive officer of the office of the building official appointed by the secretary. Secretary of what? Department of Public Works and Highways. Okay. So building permit, it is a document issued by the building official, right, to an owner applicant to proceed with the construction. Building permit, you are permitted to start construction. Okay. So okay. So let us take a look what we really mean in terms of legal terminology. Okay. By the word referral codes, the applicable provision of the various agency and technical professional codes that are supplementary to the code. Meaning it is a code that forms part of this National Building Code. So Philippine Electrical Code is part of the National Building Code. You can call Philippine Electrical Code as Building Code. You can call Philippine Mechanical Code as Building Code. You can call Code of Sanitation of the Philippines as Building Code. Okay, because it is a supplementary to the code. Okay, that's what we meant by that. Okay, you can call the Plumbing Code of the Philippines Building Code. Okay, okay, so specifically they are referral code. Okay, so administration. This is chapter 2. Enforcement and administration. Whose responsibility is this? Okay, so administration, enforcement, and enforcement, including imposition of penalties, is hereby vested in the secretary. Okay? Who will enforce the punishment, the penalties, the provision of this code? Secretary of Public Works and Highway. So, Secretary of DPWH. Okay? Number 2, technical staff. National Building Code Development Office. Okay? So, those assigned here is what we call technical staff. Okay? They will assist the secretary on the administration and enforcement of this building code. Okay? Number 3, Section 3 of Chapter 2, Section 2, Section 3. General powers and function of secretary. Okay? Formulate policies. So that is what? Doing the IRR. So making this IRR is the power of the secretary. Appointing building official. Prescribe, impose the amount, fees. How much is the fee for application of permit? That is the power. Okay. Okay. So next section, professional and technical assistance. Okay. Secretary may secure professional, technical, scientific, and other services to help him. Okay. So meaning to say, the secretary should not be it is not necessarily be an engineer, the secretary, but it is better if the secretary is an engineer because he is what? He is DPW secretary and will enforce the building code. Okay, so the previous secretary is Secretary Mark Villar, which is one of the candidates who won the senatorial seat of the last election. So he will be replaced. I don't know who will replace, but I hope an engineer would replace. Okay. So professional and technical assistants. Okay. So building officials. So the building officials shall be responsible for carrying out the provision of the code. So building officials are being given the authority by the law to carry out the provision and enforcement, order and decision. Okay. All building officials appointed or designated, okay, shall continue to act as the building official until such time that the secretary appoints the building official. Okay, so they must be appointed by the secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highway. But commonly, even up to now, building officials are appointed, hired by the mayor. So we are Filipinos. We are not following the rules. We are not following the law. This is law IRR 2005. 2005. Until now, they are not being followed. Even the mayors in the provinces, they are appointing their building official. That is not supposed to be. DPW secretary should appoint the building official for each and every localities. I don't know why. No, we do not follow the law. Okay, but let us try to follow the law. Let's try. Qualification of building official: Filipino citizen, good moral character, duly registered architect or civil engineer. This is very specific. Very specific. It did not say mechanical engineer. They cannot be. It did not say electrical engineer. Only architect or civil engineer. And only registered. What do you mean by registered? Only licensed, meaning license. No? Only licensed architect or civil engineer can become building official. What do you mean by building official? So there are several building official. Building official for electrical, building official for mechanical. But the overall building official must be architect or civil engineer. Okay? So a member of good standing of a duly accredited organization, what is that? In our course, that is PICE. So if you are not member of PICE, you are not qualified to be a building official. So they must be a member of PICE for not less than 5 years. Okay? You must be a member of PICE for not less than 5 years and endorsed or recommended by the PICE. Okay? You are recommended by PICE to be a building official. Okay? You are now having the what? You can now imagine how powerful is PICE. Okay? Okay? So there is no mention of PICE here, but the term is accredited professional organization. Who accredit organization? PRC, SEC, government accredits organization. For civil engineers, that is PICE. Okay. For electrical engineer, IIEE. For mechanical engineer, that is PCN. For master plumber, that is PSPC, PSPE. Okay. So those are different organizations. Okay. At least 5 years of diversified professional experience in building design and construction. Diversified meaning minimum 5 years, different areas in design and construction. Okay, has attended and successfully completed a seminar workshop on PD. There is a seminar workshop on PD 1096. What is this? This is building code of the Philippines, and it's IRR conducted by DPWH. So these are the list of qualifications that must be satisfied by an applicant for building official. That is not being done right now. After how many years? 2022 minus 2005, that is what? 17 years. Imagine that. After 17 years, it is not being followed. That's how incapable Philippines to become a developed country. Because simple rule cannot be followed here. How can we develop our country? Okay? One meaning of this is in very far areas, very far from NCR, there are building officials who are not even licensed. There are building officials that are not civil engineer and not architect. Even in Batangas, I know somebody who is a building official, which is a mechanical engineer. He can be a building official for mechanical alone, but not for the whole department. Not for the whole department. Okay? So only architect or civil engineer. That is according to the law. Okay? Right? I am a mechanical engineer. I am an electrical engineer. I am a civil engineer. I do not favor one from the other, but it is according to the law. I do not favor anyone, no? But I am just reading the law. Okay? Duties of building officials. So primarily responsible for enforcing the provision of the code and its IRR, okay, including the memorandum circular, so MC, opinion of the department secretary, decision in order issued pursuant to the building code. His actions should always be guided by appropriate orders and directives from the secretary of DPWH. Overall administrative control and supervision over all works and pertinent to building structure. Okay, very powerful man. Ensure that all changes, modification, alteration in design during the construction phase shall not start until the modified design plan has been evaluated and necessarily a mandatory permit issued. Okay, so that is how powerful are they, but this is not being followed. Undertake annual inspection. There is no annual inspection of all buildings. See, all buildings, that includes residential, not only the commercial, industrial, agricultural, but also residential. We are not even inspecting the institutional building. So our city is number 6 city in our country, number 6, but we are not doing this. Okay, so this is how the structure of office of the building official in every city or municipality. This is how they should be. So building official, this must be an architect or civil engineer. Okay. So what's next? So there are several professional here. Okay. We have what? Land use in zoning, that is geodetic engineer. Environmental planner. Line and grade, that is geodetic engineer. Architectural, architect or civil. Civil structural, civil. Electrical, electrical engineer. Mechanical, mechanical engineer. Sanitary, sanitary engineer. Plumbing section, master plumber. And electronics engineer. Okay, so electronics section. So this actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 including the land zoning, so environmental planner. So 9 professional. So 9 professional must be under the building official. Okay?